Cal, Tom Spiz. Today we're talking about SatSkin Concealment. This has been a huge, fun journey and involvement with SatSkin Concealment. We crossed paths last year. Jason, the creator and owner, had asked me if I'd like to be part of the team, part of the journey, and I said, hey, why not? Let's do it. We met up at ATA a little bit later. It has been a blast. You see me post pictures and videos of this prototype gear, using it, some blogs about it, and it was really a blast being able to be part of that process for a company who's new and to provide viable feedback. It was just awesome. It's a great product. You know, that's SatSkin Concealment is something completely different from what's been out there, all the way down to its system of science that they use to draw out the patterns. And if you've gone to their pictures, you've seen where the patterns have already been appearing on other products and items, and you can see how it just comes. It's three-dimensional. It looks like, you know, you put your hand across it, it looks like it's popping out. And you know, you just see me post about the bow here, unveiled it. We're going to bring you in closer, take a look at that, as well as we have some other products that it's been wrapped on. We have some titanium archery product stabilizers. Okay, so we'll bring you in closer, talk about it. But you know, back to the science, they really, you know, after getting talking to them, you could really see how they integrated the science of animal vision to today's most technology advanced 3D terrain modeling system out there, and how they're able to bring it, like I said, to life is just amazing in itself. You know, I could go on and talk about this, but I tell you what, there's nothing better than when the creator and owner of the company is going to chime in. He's just going to talk to us about it. That's the best way, the heart feel that you can see where Jason wants to take this company, his vision for SatSkin Concealment and the patterns. So without further ado, we got Jason over here on Skype. He's waiting. We're going to bring him in, and he's going to talk to you about SatSkin Concealment, you know, where he kind of got started, what he noticed. You know, he's going to talk a little bit about innovation and what's to come of it. Hey, Jason, it looks beautiful out there in Canada. How are you doing?
Good. Yeah, Canada's a pretty nice place here. Actually, I'm in Alberta.
Alberta?
And it's very nice outside. And yeah, thanks for giving me a shout here.
Yeah, looking forward to, you know, finding a little bit more about SatSkin and, you know, the idea behind it, and, you know, what's to come, and just all the excitement. It's going to be the next greatest camo line to come about.
Yeah, well, certainly innovative, and we're hoping to continue that theme, or that motion forward in innovation. We definitely have some new ideas coming as well. Excuse me, but the patterns that we have currently are going to be exciting. They're going to be very different, very effective. Gotcha. And so we welcome any opportunity to chat about it like this. This is fantastic. Yeah. Thanks again for having us here. Yeah, so about a week before I moved out here to Alberta with my family. I went out, I think I told you I went bear hunting.
Yeah.
For black bear back in BC. And I got the 6.5 inch. No, just kidding. But I did get this 19.5 inch.
Oh, wow, look at that guy.
Black bear. Which was just, yeah, it's a beauty.
Yeah, it is.
Actually, Jason Gassaway gave me his recipe for bleaching it.
Okay.
And so I followed his instructions. And so here's a little shout out to Jason at Impact Insanity Outdoors. Great job. Worked really well. But yeah, 19.5 inch. It'll probably make, you know, not top 10 or anything, but it'll make the record book here in BC.
That's awesome.
You know, the top couple of hundred or something like that, maybe. But yeah, so I got that on the kitchen table all the time now.
Yeah.
Along with this little guy.
Yeah, little tiny fella.
Yeah. Yeah. I know it's a possum for having us here.
Oh yeah, that's great. So let's get to it.
Awesome.
What led you to developing the SatSkin brand?
Well, before it became a brand, of course, it was simply a concept and an idea, Tom, right? It was, I've always been an avid outdoorsman and hunter, and I love it. I spend a lot of time outdoors, and I've owned all kinds of camouflage, different quality clothing, different quality patterns, all different kinds. And, I really did begin to feel as though there was just a lack of depth in the overall camouflage pattern industry, and that, I don't want to name names. I mean, I own a lot of different brands, and I've enjoyed wearing a lot of different brands. But there's those standard sticks and leaves type brands, and there's dozens of those brands. And I just thought to myself, the sticks and leaves have been done to death. That they've just been done and overused, not just in clothing, but in hydrographic dipping, overused in vinyl reproduction for vehicle wraps, whatever the case is. So if a guy goes out and he wants to, wear a jacket or wrap his gun or wrap a vehicle or a cooler, there's nothing really particularly original about it anymore, because you always end up looking like the next guy that has the same
leaves and
sticks and leaves type patterns, right? I know there's variations on each one, but many of them are pretty darn close to each other. So I was a little bit kind of bugged by that. It just kind of annoyed me. I knew there were a lot of new technical patterns that were coming out. They were very nice. Again, I'm a fan of a lot of that stuff. Even some of the six leaf patterns, I'm a bit of a fan. But when I started seeing some of the new technical patterns coming out, I thought, okay, well, these guys are at least onto something fresh. Let's see how effective they are. And so I owned some of it, and I tested some of it, and some was more effective than others, for sure. And I do have a background in illustration, photography, 3D illustration, animation, and so I have photography, and I've got a very good understanding of light, dark, color, texture, patterns. It's been my career. And so I have a good understanding of those things, along with the hunting. And I thought, man, maybe there's something I could do with this. I owned a very large media studio, multimedia studio that did real estate marketing. And I decided I was going to sell that and go try something new. And so I was literally on Google Earth one day, and I was just zoomed out at a certain distance, certain elevation. And I began to realize, man, that looks like a killer camouflage pattern. Like, that looks really good. Knowing full well that a nice satellite image by itself is not necessarily good concealment, isn't necessarily effective. But conceptually, I thought, well, maybe there's some validity to the concept of and to its uniqueness and its originality, from a marketing standpoint, because not everybody would have it right off the bat. There'd be many people who would maybe want to have it as opposed to the same sticks and leaves. And I also realized I need to work on these images, and Google Earth, it's hands off on their imagery. There's no chance you can license their stuff. But my background, along with a couple of my associates at my former company, that we have the expertise to create our own 3D world, essentially, which is what we've done. We've taken chunks of terrain from the Earth as inspiration, whether it's a semi-arid region or a full desert, dry, rocks and crags and everything, and then up to the Arctic areas with the snow and the crevasses and all that kind of stuff. And so we were able to develop our own 3D models and map them and texture them, control the light, control the shadow, control the depth of the colors and the shadows and the highlights to create these patterns. So what you end up with, really, and you've seen this, Tom, what you end up with is a very three-dimensional looking image on a totally flat surface. And we had an opportunity to showcase that a little bit at the ATA show with a few people we were meeting with, and again at the SHOT Show, at the at the supplier showcase at the SHOT Show. We had people coming up to our table. We just had a flat piece of fabric on the table, and we had people walking over and literally running their hand across the fabric, and then having a surprised look, saying, "Oh, it's flat. I thought it was like a three-dimensional model."
Wow,
And
that's really
so when we
cool.
began to see that kind of reaction from people, even before that, as I was developing the product or the patterns, we really began to realize we were onto something. There's a very, very effective, very three-dimensional set of patterns. And that's sort of how I stumbled into it. And then, of course, my technical expertise that I've had a career, a long career in illustration, photography, and imagery, was really lended that skill set to this project as well.
Oh, that's really cool. I mean, so that's kind of how it tied you into, why the satellite imagery was. It just stumbled across it and light bulb went off.
Yeah, that's really what it was. And so it was a fresh idea, number one. It hadn't been done before. I've seen one or two people who it seems like maybe they tried to do something similar. They had a similar thought, but it wasn't pulled off at the same level or the same 3D effect, not even close. In fact, not even 3D. Like they were just photoshopped 2D
Oh, okay.
images.
Okay. Now, what about, I mean, the patterns that you developed? What's the reasons behind each one of those?
So of course we wanted to nail down, where would these patterns be effective. So we initially we chose to replicate some different terrains that are people hunt in around the world, not just in Canada or U.S. or North America, but around the world. So we really do have everything from your typical like our MR1 or MR2 patterns are great. So all around patterns, one's a little more green, one's a little more tan. MR2's got a little more tan and reds in it. Great for fall and autumn. High country, low country, river bottoms. It's just great. MR1 has got more green in it, definitively a little bit more for early season, September archery hunts, that kind of thing, or turkey hunts in spring bear, that kind of thing. But then, of course, those would be pretty universal type patterns. You can use those almost all year round anywhere. Then you've got we've got a semi-arid, so vert SA, and then we've got fully arid, which is our arid cover, our vert AC, which is more of a real desert tan, very good for military applications as well, law enforcement. We have a blacked out version for law enforcement. It looks really, really good. In fact, I'm looking at getting my truck wrapped in that myself.
Yeah, it does look
And
sharp. I saw that. I like that.
yeah, I think it looked pretty awesome. And then, of course, we have what we're calling our snow. It's a vert CR, which is short for crevasse, and it's we get a lot of compliments on that one. My wife wears that jacket with that pattern on it quite regularly. She wore it all over the ATA show and all over the SHOT Show, and we had a lot of people literally just walking up out of the blue and asking, "What is that pattern? Where did you get that?" And even some of our team members, guys that we bumped into at the ATA show, they came up to us. I was meeting them face to face for the first time, and Deanna was wearing that jacket, and kind of stopped them mid conversation. They want to know more about that pattern, and it's a pretty awesome looking one. But more recently, Tom, we've actually, as we've been preparing for the launch of our clothing line, more recently we've developed two new, what we're calling technical patterns. We're just finalizing the branding on them, as I mentioned earlier to you, the naming and the branding. So our clothing line will launch with two patterns that aren't on the website currently, and so it's a real combination of a modern looking technical type pattern like you see today. There's a lot of them now. However, we've blended it with our SatSkin technology, with our 3D technology, and it just looks phenomenal. So you still get the same three-dimensional look and feel. It does not look flat. It looks very textured. But it also brings into it this more graphic type imagery rather than realistic looking trees and rivers and rocks. It's more of a 3D texture map, or a map that we've placed our 2D our mapped our 2D graphic imagery to, and it looks fantastic. So we're really pumped about it.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see.
There's two of them.
Can't wait to see the new ones.
Yeah, it should be great.
All right, Jason, tell me the technology and some highlights that have gone into the clothing, and maybe a little bit of what's to come, whatever you're able to share without giving too many giveaways.
All right, so we've partnered with one of the two or three largest fabric manufacturers in the world. In fact, they've got some very high-tech products that they've made accessible to us, some patent pending stuff and some fully patented materials as well. And they've been very good to work with, and they sell their product, many of their products to, I won't name names again, but some pretty high-end companies around all over the world, in and out of the sports and athletic apparel companies as well as fashion. And so we're excited to be working with them, and but that also allows us now to bring into our products some of those patented and or patent pending technologies. Everything from fabrics that certainly, they breathe, they stretch, as you know, they stretch all directions, very comfortable to wear. They quick dry. We have some incredible cooling fabrics that actually have jade impregnated in the fibers of the cloth. We've got fabrics that they're very breathable. They're waterproof. They're wind resistant. We're going to be bringing Kevlar into the knees and into the elbows for added durability. We've done some testing regarding, knee and elbow pads versus the Kevlar, and the Kevlar A is going to bring the durability, but it's also going to add an extra layer, reminiscent of a pad, but without the actual added cumbersomeness or the lack of mobility or the limited mobility that can come from having added layers of padding in the knees and the elbows. So we're pretty excited about that. The fit is going to be very athletic, but not ridiculously so. We know that people are all different shapes and sizes, so we want people to be able to be comfortable and feel comfortable in the clothing. We want them to feel athletic. We want the clothing to be comfortable and work with them. We do realize that the fabrics and the technology will aid in their performance, but we want them to be comfortable. We want them to feel that they have an advantage. And we believe that our clothing and our pattern combination that definitively gives an advantage to the hunter. We've got enough experience in the field and in the laboratory to know that this is an effective combination and very new to the industry.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. I mean, you just saw me sharing some posts, being up there, Boyne Mountain in Michigan, Total Archery Challenge, and you see me preparing, fit-wise out, even in the gym, crazy side yard routines.
I know, that's awesome.
Just getting ready, and I mean, I'm still a little bit sore today, even from being up there. But I mean, we were climbing across. I mean, it was hard to believe Michigan has mountains, but it does. And I mean, there was some crazy. So I can't wait to see how the technology's gone behind your vision to if any kind of help that's climbing that where you're not as tired, or if it's for sweat purposes or just movability. I mean, it's gonna help the hunter and the athlete, really.
Oh, definitely. And that's ultimately our goal. We often thought that, and it was one of my early mindsets, and it goes back to the patterns maybe a little bit here, but every aspect of every industry innovates and moves forward. If you're talking rifle scopes, you're talking any kind of glass in the hunting industry at all, in the hunting world, everything's improved immensely. If you're talking about firearms, you're talking about ammunition, if you're talking about archery, especially archery products have just gone through the roof with the technology and the innovation. It's been incredible. Yet I always felt that the camouflage patterns that are currently available on the market have not been as innovative as the rest of the industry. And so I really felt strongly that it can be better. It can be better. And I fully realize that not everybody's going to maybe like the concept of 3D terrain or a satellite type looking image. That's not going to be everybody's flavor. I understand that. However, what all hunters are seeking is an advantage, and the 3D lighting and shadowing of our patterns definitively gives an advantage to the hunter that's not been previously available. And it doesn't matter what technical pattern they go up against. Our distal breakup that we have on our patterns is second to none. Our patterns continue to break up over long distances, and yet at closer distances are very open until you get within 10 or 15 yards, and then you start to see those micro textures starting to come out in the patterns. The detail is simply endless. Very, very large macro patterning for that breakup, and then, like I said, up close, tons of texture, tons of micro patterning, at all ranges. It's an effective pattern or set of patterns.
That's so awesome, and it's only going to get better from here on out. I mean, the idea became something in reality, and now it's just full steam ahead.
It is, and we're excited to get some reviews done, and for really just for the industry to begin to take notice of us. We've been very kind of gently getting ourselves out there, but at some point we're going to be very aggressive about it, and people will definitely know who we are.
Oh yeah, no doubt at all. And like you said, the technology-driven industry nowadays. I mean, it's in our bows, it's in our rifles, it's in our binoculars, our optics.
Yeah.
You got to be there with it, otherwise you're gonna get left in the dust. You can still keep some old school stuff around, and but you got to innovate.
No, it's so true. Even everything from our scent control to how waterproof our clothing is, to how breathable, to how warm a kind of thin shell piece of fabric be. Like we've improved everything along the way, but really the camouflage patterns, although there's a lot of variety, the camouflage patterns as far as effectiveness have really only moved sideways during this the last probably 10 or 15 years. And even more for some of the sticks and leaves patterns, 40 years.
Oh
Those
yeah,
are
I believe
old
it.
patterns.
Yeah,
and,
they're all.
I think it's just time to move ahead and move into a new set of systems. And that's what we're trying to develop, and we're continuing to innovate. We're not sitting back on our laurels. Oh wow, we've got this new idea and everybody's going to buy into it. No. We've got some other stuff we're definitely working on, some new technologies included, and we're excited to be in the future. To be working towards hunting the future, and we'll definitely be bringing something out that's I think it's gonna be very shocking.
Oh yeah, I always get excited about hearing about new stuff that y'all are coming up with, and I'm like, I just makes you want to just come up there, be in the lab with everyone, and see the action happen.
Well, we'll make that happen for sure.
Oh yeah, I look forward to it, and look forward to meeting you again soon at the ATA here next year. Maybe who knows? Maybe sooner. Maybe we'll hit a hunt this fall somewhere.
Man, that'd be awesome. That would be awesome.
So
well, if I hit that Wyoming hunt with maybe you and Steve, that would something could probably work out.
Yeah, make it happen. Time. It's great group of fellows right there, and be a fun time.
That'd be a good time for sure.
Well, yeah, I look forward to it, and we'll talk to you soon.
That sounds great, Tom. Really appreciate your time. Appreciate all your efforts in working with us, and you spreading the word. And like I said, look forward to chatting with you next time.
Oh yeah, I'm more than happy to, and we'll talk to you soon.
Good stuff. Take care, buddy.
You too.
All right.
Wow, there you have it. I mean, how cool is that? Jason himself, not too often you get to create that nice, close relationship with someone like that. Great guy. And to be able to, he's going to pop in all the way up from Canada and go on Skype with us. So that's awesome. I hope you all enjoyed that. Like I said, I'm going to bring you in. I'm going to show you a close-up of this bow. Also, got two different patterns of the wraps on the stabilizers here. And then also, I'll show you some pictures of other stuff if you haven't seen it yet. It's it popped up on SatSkin's feed somewhere else. They got wrap dipping available. Some companies are also getting it on their product. They also SatSkin Concealment. You can get. They do have a licensing process. So if you're interested in that, your company, if you have a clothing brand company, know someone you want to see it on your stuff. There's a few out there. They do have licensing, so look them up and talk about that. So let me bring you in here, and we'll show you some more about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring you in. So this is Team R2 products. They're elite stabilizers. It's 8-inch one right here, and you can really see how it just brings it brings to life. I mean, this is rolled on a cylinder tube and it just sits a perfect, amazing, great pattern. We also have another pattern design on their baster. Again, it's just really integrated science right here, innovation. Like Jason said, you need to innovate. Really nice. Take you in and show you the bow. And you can just see how this, even the minor detail, this pattern just pops. It just really comes to life. Innovations, bows are innovated. Everything's innovated. Our releases, the cam system on these things, it's all innovated. And now we have concealment camouflage pattern. It's innovated as well. Like I mentioned, they do have the wraps, the dipping. So hopefully we can see this on a lot more products. I'm hoping so. It's a sweet pattern. It's time to hunt the future. Everything else is innovated. Let's innovate our camo.
Well, there you have it, y'all. It's SatSkin Concealment. Thank you for taking the time to watch this, to learn more about it, the pattern. Like I said, you see me share it. Drew some attention by numerous people who were able to be part of this journey as well, myself. It's a great pattern. Hope you've seen how science and innovation was brought to the design, the concept. Like I said, it's in our bows, it's in our releases, it's everywhere, computers, phones. Now we have things that are tracking our steps and our heart rate too. So Jason definitely innovated with the idea to hunt the future. So thank you for watching the segment, and thank you, Jason, for taking the time to talk more about it and share really the heart and soul of SatSkin Concealment. It's always interesting to see someone's ideas come to life, and even more better when you take the time to talk to not just myself, but now everyone out there. So follow me, follow Jason, SatSkin, check out the website. There's more to come. There's always a surprise to come. He's always working on something, so going to want to stay tuned to the SatSkin Concealment pattern and see what's to come of it.